Picture this. You wake up tired, your brain is already racing, and before you've even opened your laptop, you're thinking, I need something to take the edge off, and maybe give me a little boost too. Now zoom out. Multiply that feeling by millions of people. That's the backdrop for today's episode. The new obsession with feeling better, living longer, and somehow keeping it all together while the world keeps speeding up. And it's not just a wellness story, it's also a money story, it's a housing story, it's a science story, it's even, strangely, a political ethics story. Because right now, longevity is showing up everywhere. From the supplement aisle to the mortgage office to luxury high-rises that basically whisper, what if aging was optional?
Let's start with the small, everyday version of this trend. The thing people can grab without changing their whole life. Ashwagandha. If you've been anywhere near health content lately, you've heard the name. It's being talked about like a multi-tool for modern stress. Calmer nerves, better energy, improved strength, more resilience. What's interesting is how experts are describing it, not as some mysterious new discovery, but as an old remedy getting a very modern makeover. Doctors and health professionals keep pointing out. This herb has been around for a long time in traditional practice, but now it's moving into the mainstream as a holistic wellness supplement.
So the big takeaway isn't that it's a magic plant, it's that people are searching for an alternative route to mental steadiness and physical vitality. The vibe is less, I want to look a certain way, and more, I want to handle my life without feeling like I'm fraying at the edges. And that same shift, you can see it in research too. There's growing attention on the link between heart health and mental health. Not as separate projects, but as one system. Like, if you're building physical resilience, you're also building emotional resilience. And if your mind is under constant strain, your body pays for it.
Which sets the stage for the bigger, bolder promise people are chasing: longevity. Not anti-aging as a beauty slogan, but longevity as an entire strategy. Staying strong, staying functional, staying mentally sharp, stretching health, not just years. And then the story jumps from supplements and studies to something that sounds like science fiction. Researchers are exploring ways to reset the body at the cellular level. Instead of playing whack-a-mole with one disease at a time, they're asking, what if we could reduce the root causes of decline before conditions like dementia or heart disease even show up? That idea, prevention at the deepest level, has turned certain drugs and therapies into headline material. One name that keeps popping up in preventative health circles is rapamycin. Clinicians and researchers are taking a harder look at whether compounds like this could influence the pace of aging itself.
To be clear, the public conversation often jumps faster than the science. But culturally, you can feel it. We're moving from, how do I get through the week, to, how do I redesign the next 30 years? And you know where that redesign is being packaged and sold? Real estate. Miami is a perfect example. There are luxury residences, like the Nobu-branded towers, leaning hard into longevity as a lifestyle product. Not just a nice pool and a gym, but amenities built around wellness optimization. It's biohacking, but with ocean views.
It raises a question that's hard to ignore. When longevity becomes a premium amenity, who actually gets to participate? If the entry price is tens of millions of dollars, the pitch starts to sound like immortality for qualified buyers only.
And speaking of qualified buyers, let's talk about the housing market's own stress response. Because while some people are shopping for longevity condos, a lot of regular buyers are just trying to make closing costs work. Down payment assistance is surging. Participation has climbed dramatically, moving from single digits to over 1/105 of buyers using help. That's not a tiny shift. That's a signal flare that affordability pressure is reshaping who can buy and how they get there.
Then you've got mortgage rates behaving like they drank 3 espressos. They stayed steady for a while. Then the average 30-year fixed rate popped up, around 6.3 to 6.5, before settling again. That kind of movement changes people's monthly payments fast, and it messes with confidence. But at the same time, rising home values are opening doors in a different way, especially for seniors. Even when people feel less financially optimistic overall, home equity can create an opportunity to access cash later in life.
That's where reverse mortgage conversations come back into focus. And industry data suggests it's a complicated moment. Real needs, real pressure, and a lot of economic uncertainty. Now here's where the longevity theme and the housing theme collide in a really big way. The wealth transfer that's expected to flow through housing. We're talking about an enormous amount of value moving between generations, well into the trillions. Housing professionals are being told, basically, if you want to keep the next generation as clients, you can't ignore estate planning. Because the people inheriting homes or inheriting the proceeds from them are going to make decisions. Sell, keep, renovate, rent, refinance, and the agents, advisors, and lenders who understand that family transition will be the ones who stay relevant. So we've got stress supplements, heart-mind research, cellular reset ambitions, biohacked luxury towers, and a housing market where people are stretching every dollar. It's already a lot. And then the story takes a turn into dark comedy.
Because not everyone chases longevity with meditation and meal prep. Some people apparently chase it with creative budgeting. There's a story out of Massachusetts where a former mayor allegedly tried a very personal version of financial wellness, awarding himself unauthorized payments tucked into the city budget.
It's almost too on the nose. Like the tongue-in-cheek morale of the story is, the ultimate longevity secret is cash and a lack of oversight. But underneath the joke is something real. Money has always been one of the strongest predictors of health outcomes. It just usually shows up in quieter ways than that.
And while we're in the aging is weird department, there's also the simple physical truth that comes with time. The rock band failure put it bluntly. Everything gets heavier as you get older. Instruments, gear, days, responsibilities. Pick your metaphor. The body keeps score.
Which is why I loved hearing about Michaela Strachan's approach to staying fit in her 60s. The headline version is that she stopped obsessing over looks and focused on longevity, strength, function, being capable. And the bigger message is, a longevity routine doesn't have to be about punishment. It can be about building a body that supports your life.
That might be the most practical thread through all of this. The real future of living longer isn't just some pill or some fancy building. It's the accumulation of choices and systems, how we manage stress, how we protect heart health, how we structure money, how we plan for aging, and how we keep mobility and strength as we get older.
And maybe the most revealing part is how many industries want a piece of the longevity conversation. Supplements say they can take the edge off. Science says it might be able to change the trajectory. Real estate says it can wrap it all in a beautiful view. Finance says it can extend your options.
And somewhere in the background, the Ethics Commission is tapping the microphone asking, okay, but who's paying for what and why?
So if you're listening and thinking, what am I supposed to do with all this? Here's a grounding question. Are you chasing longevity as a fantasy or building it as a practice? Because one of those is mostly marketing. The other is a long game, and it's personal.
Longevity is getting crowded. It's getting expensive in some places, and it's getting genuinely exciting in others. But the heart of it, no matter how it's packaged, is the same. People want to feel steady, strong, and clear for as long as they can. And whether your starting point is an herb for stress, a walk instead of a gym session, a conversation about home equity, or planning how a family home gets passed down, what matters is that you start somewhere real. Not because you're trying to live forever, but because you're trying to live well. Please like, subscribe, and join us at I Am Healthy Money.
Life has its ups and downs, but you're not alone. From 10 to 110, we're in this together, right here, right now. We love ya.